Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to install the input-adaptive stream add-on for Kodi. This will allow you to watch DRM content, and I'm also going to show you how to install the widevine.so file manually by copying it from your browser. I'm going to switch across to Emacs and go through the steps. So the first thing is, if you've installed Kodi on Ubuntu using the package available in the software repository, it doesn't have the input-adaptive stream add-on for Kodi installed, and you can't install it. So first step is to actually uninstall Kodi completely. You've installed it from the Ubuntu repository. So what I'm going to do is switch across to the terminal. So to do that, what you would do is you would run sudo apt. Well, first thing you might want to do is actually copy your Kodi directory to your desktop, because when you do the upgrade, some add-ons may stop working, so it's a good idea to have a backup. So you'll copy the .kodi. What you need to do is cp-r for recursive, Kodi dot. So the cpr cp-r ~/.kodi dot, and that's going to copy it to the current directory. So that's the first step. The next step is you actually need to completely uninstall Kodi that you've installed through the Ubuntu repository, and you do that with sudo apt purge Kodi asterisk, and that will uninstall all the Kodi packages. So that's the first two steps we want to go through. After that, what we need to do is actually install the Kodi PPA on Ubuntu. Now, this may be different on different versions of Linux. If you're using Arch, Fedora, or whatever, they may come with a separate package that you can install, or allow you to install the package from within Kodi. But on Ubuntu, you actually have to use the PPA. So there are three commands we're going to run. We first of all need to install software properties common. That's sudo apt install software-properties-common. And then what we need to do is add the repository. So sudo add apt-repository-y ppa team-xbmc-ppa. And the PPA is still called xbmc, which was the original name for Kodi. After you do that, you want to do a sudo apt update, and then you can install Kodi. So sudo apt install Kodi. What we need to do, if I just come down here actually, is once you've installed the PPA, what you'll find is you have other packages that you can install. So if I run apt search Kodi, what you see is you get a lot more packages from the PPA than you do in the regular Ubuntu repository. And the packages that we need to install, apart from Kodi, are Kodi-inputstream-adaptive and Kodi-inputstream-rtmp. So once you've done that, if I just come back across to Kodi, we can come into, I think it's installed from repository, and you won't actually see the inputstream-adaptive listed here. In some versions of Linux, what will happen is when you install Kodi, you'll have a section that says video input stream adaptive, and then you can go in and install it. Because we've installed this from the packages, that won't show up, it will just be installed. There's another package that you can actually install called the inputstream-adaptive helper, I think. Let me just check where that is. Yeah, so that's in program add-ons, inputstream helper. And if you come to this and you go to configure, what it does is it has a section here where it supposedly allows you to install the Widevine .so file, But what happened is I couldn't actually get this to work, so what I did was actually do this manually. So what I'm going to do is exit Kodi. I'm going to show you how to find the widevine.so file that you can copy into Kodi. So let's come back across to the notes. So what we're going to be doing is enabling DRM in Firefox. This will download the widevine.so file. If you're using Chromium on Ubuntu, it's a snap package, and by default that comes with the DRM enabled. So first of all, what we're going to do is come into Firefox and go into our settings. And if you go into the General tab and scroll down, what you'll see is this section here: Digital Rights Management, DRM Content, Play DRM Controlled Content. Just put a checkbox there. What's going to happen is it's going to take a minute or two, and it's going to say installing Widevine, DRM, that sort of thing. Once it's done that, we can actually search for the widevine.so file that we can install into Kodi. So we've enabled the DRM in Kodi, in Firefox rather, by going into our settings, the general, scroll down, put a checkbox next to the play DRM controlled content. Now what we're going to do is actually find the file, and the file is called libwidevine CDM.so. What we're going to do is use the find command, and I'll just run this. So switch across to terminal. So find ~/-name single quotes libwidevine CDM.so. Give it a second or two. What I have is I've got Firefox installed through Flatpak and Chromium installed with a snap. And what you'll see here is the two locations of the libwidevine CDM.so file in Firefox and in Chromium. So I'm going to switch across here and just show you the locations. So for the Firefox snap, the location is ~/.var app org.mozilla.firefox .mozilla Firefox, and then this section here, the default release. This string of numbers is going to be different on your release because it's basically tied to your profile. And in that directory, you'll find a gmp-widevine CDM, and then a string of numbers, and then finally libwidevine CDM.so. If you're using Firefox from a Debian package, the location I presume would just be .mozilla in your home directory, Firefox, then the default release, the string of numbers, and then libwidevine. So that's the location of the file on Firefox, and what we'll do now is have a look at the snap version of Chromium, and the location for the widevine CDM.so file is snap chromium common chromium widevine string of numbers platform specific Linux _x64 lib widevine CDM.so. So that's the location of the two files. So the next step that we want to do is actually copy the libwidevine CDM.so file into Kodi. So basically what we're going to do is we copy the libwidevine CDM.so file to our desktop or something from the locations we found in the previous step, and then all we need to do is cp libwidevine.cdm.so to ~/Kodi CDM. So if I come into that directory here, Kodi CDM, what you'll see here is we have the libwidevine CDM.so file and then this widevine directory, and that's where the DRM shenanigan goes on basically. So that's the location you need to copy everything to. And once you've done that, that's going to enable DRM support in Kodi, and also the inputstream-adaptive add-on and the RTMP version of that. So if I come across to Kodi now, let's say what you'll see is under my add-ons, if I come across to all, what you'll see is inputstream-adaptive and the inputstream helper, which I don't think you really need to enable. As I say, I couldn't get that to work to download the widevine.so file. Maybe different on different versions of Linux or Mac or Windows, that may work. But basically, after installing the packages, you'll have the inputstream-adaptive add-on enabled. And again, you don't need to go and sort of search through the add-ons. Add-ons installed from repository. As I said, normally what happens in some versions of Linux, you will get a section here that says video inputstream-adaptive, and you can go in there and you'll see two plugins you can enable: inputstream-adaptive and inputstream-adaptive RTMP. Again, the version that ships with Ubuntu, the package that ships with Ubuntu, is crippled. It doesn't have these add-ons available in the repository. You cannot install them from within Kodi. As far as I know, there isn't a way to install them using the built-in package that ships with Ubuntu. So that's why you need to use the PPA, because it will allow you to install the packages from your package manager. So that's basically the lowdown of the setup to get the inputstream-adaptive and RTMP version installed, and also to install the Widevine CDM.so file. So that's the sort of latest version of Kodi I've got using the PPA. I've only got iPlayer installed here, and I've just been looking at how Widevine works, and you can actually use it with the inputstream-adaptive add-on. There's a way to actually specify in an M3U file or a STRM file to use DRM and give it a MPD manifest file, and also pass in license keys. But that's just something I'm looking at, getting my head around. But basically what that would allow you to do is to create either M3U files or STRM files, and put in links to DRM content and actually be able to play it from within Kodi. So that's something that I'm just looking into, trying to get my head around how it all works. So let's just have a quick recap of the steps. So first step, again, you need, if you've got the Kodi package installed through the Ubuntu repository, you need to uninstall it. So first of all, what we did, cpr.kodi, back up your Kodi sort of directory to the desktop before you proceed. Then sudo apt purge Kodi : that's going to remove the Ubuntu version of Kodi. We then have to install a couple of packages and then the PPA. So sudo apt install software properties common, add the PPA, and then install Kodi. And again, the other two things you need to install are, apart from Kodi, Kodi-inputstream-adaptive, Kodi-inputstream-rtmp. We've done that. Next step, again, we enabled the DRM in Firefox. So settings, scroll down, enable DRM, give it a minute to actually download and install it. After you've done that, we can use that, we can find that file again. So find /tilde/name single quotes libwidevine That's then going to return the location of the libwidevine.so file that we enabled in Firefox and in Chromium, which is enabled by default. So that's the location of the libwidevine CDM.so file in Flatpak. Same deal in Chromium. So just if you're having trouble getting the libwidevine enabled in Kodi, grab it from the browser, same thing. So find that file, copy it to the desktop, and then simply copy that libwidevine CDM.so file into /.kodi CDM. Kodi CDM, and that's the libwidevine CDM.so file there. And this is the directory where all the DRM stuff goes on in Kodi, which I'm having a sort of little shifty at. And that will basically get you the latest version of Kodi on Ubuntu, allow you to install the inputstream-adaptive add-ons, and allow you to get Widevine working properly. I haven't actually tried a package that uses Widevine as such yet, because I don't have a Netflix add-on or anything. So I've been sort of playing around, trying to use M3U files with the MPD file and the sort of the license server and various other things. So let me just come across, see if I can come across to my links. Okay, so this is a M3U file from a guy called Jaylinsk, and he's also active on the Kodi inputstream-adaptive GitHub page. And basically what this is this is the setup for a way to play MPD manifests that require Widevine. And I haven't really gone into this too much because obviously it's quite difficult to actually find any documentation on this sort of thing. Basically, the gist of it is you've got these Kodi property sort of bits of code that you can add to your M3U file, and then you can say input stream equals input stream adaptive. You can give it a manifest file. You can tell it what kind of DRM it's using. I think there's two. There's com.widevine.alpha, and I believe there's also one called widevine.clearplay, which is used by Microsoft. So there's two varieties. There's a Google one and a Microsoft version, I think. And basically what you can do is, with this Kodi property input stream adaptive thing, you can put in a license key, which is the difficult thing to get your head around and find information about how you get Widevine license keys, which probably is a bit iffy, which is why I'm not going into too much detail. But then you can give it a MPD manifest file, which is a text file, much like a M3U file, and it contains sort of links to where the TS files are. So normally what you have with live streams, for instance, M3Us or M3U8 files, is they will actually link to TS files, which are video chunks of approximately 10 seconds. And you typically have hundreds of these, and it will basically allow you to sort of stream the file, and it plays one after another sequentially. The difference between the MPD files is that they have a different syntax. they contain other information and these sort of variables that increment the count of the TS file. So rather than having a text file with a link to hundreds of sort of TS files, what this does, what these NPD manifest files do, is they actually have this special syntax that sort of gives a path to where the TS files are stored, and sort of this syntax where it will just sort of increment the count, so that when you're playing it, it will know, you know, which is the next TS file to play. So this is one of the reasons why you may want to enable Widevine in Kodi, because there is a way of using M3U files to actually put in the link to a DRM protected NPD manifest file and actually specify the license and the license key that will allow you to play that video from within Kodi. But as I said, I haven't quite got my head around it, and it's a bit of an iffy sort of subject. So that's why I'm not going into too much sort of detail, because one, I'm not totally sure about the workflow of what you need to do, and secondly, it may be frowned on. But I'll put links to all this under the video, and if I just come across here. Wait for this to load up. Eventually. Okay, so this is videohelp.com, forum.videohelp.com, and this has a lot of information about videos and Kodi that you may find useful. So I'll put a link to this under the video as well.